Elliott Sadler, the driver from Emporia, Virginia, just recently completed his final NASCAR race over the weekend. After 23 seasons in the sport of NASCAR, Sadler has officially put his racing suit and helmet in a commemorative glass case. In this video, let's reflect back on a sometimes decent but oftentimes underachieving career. In 1999, Sadler was given the iconic number 21 sit-go Ford Taurus for Wood Brothers Racing, replacing Michael Waltrip in that seat. Despite getting rid of Waltrip physically, Waltripism was still present within the 21 team. During his first 2 seasons in that ride, Elliott Sadler only netted 2 top 10 finishes, 11 laps led, an average finish of around 25th, and only 17 lead lap finishes. Really, the only memorable moment during this time frame was because of a practice crash at Michigan.
We ended up 12 times before it was all said and done. It's definitely the scariest time of my life, but I tell you what, the Wood Brothers built me a great race car as far as being safe.
During the 2001 and 2002 seasons, Elliott Sadler and the Wood Brothers team finally got onto the highlight reel besides crashes. The obvious highlight of the season was Sadler's first career win at the 2001 Food City 500. The 21 team was able to lead 70 laps around the last great Coliseum, and they broke the Wood Brothers losing streak of 8 seasons. During those 2 seasons, Elliott Sadler netted that 1 win, 4 top 5s, 9 top 10 finishes, and earned 1 top 20 finish in the final NASCAR standings. Yeah, not very good.
And I think I know who tapped him now.
Well, let's see. Was it? Oh, you don't need Fox for that.
After 4 greatly below average seasons with the Wood Brothers, Elliott Sadler moved to the greener pastures of Robert Yates Racing, taking over the number 38 M&Ms Ford Taurus and replacing Ricky Rudd in that ride. For the 2003 season, the Candyman's only highlight was this nasty flip at the 2003 EA Sports 500. His car was as junk dump as a bag of M&Ms left out in the sun all day, and so were his season stats. He earned 2 top 5s, 9 top 10s, and placed an abysmal 23rd place in the final season standings. To his defense, Robert Yates Racing during that season was absolutely atrocious, as 1999 NASCAR Cup Series champion Dale Jarrett finished the season 26th in the point standings. The following year, however, the driver from Emporia, Virginia, was able to notch a career year behind the wheel. Elliott Sadler was able to kick the 2004 season off by winning his dual race and finishing an impressive 7th place in the Daytona 500. A mere 6 weeks later, at the Texas Motor Speedway for the 2004 Samsung Radio Shack 500, the 38 team driven by Elliott Sadler and Todd Parrott achieved victory for the first time as a race team, leading 48 laps and narrowly holding off rookie Casey Kane. Elliott Sadler was able to shoot the pistols in victory lane for the second time during his career. Heading into the 2004 Labor Day race at Auto Club, Elliott Sadler and the M&Ms team were a respective 7th place in the point standings. Really, they just needed an impressive outing to clinch a chase berth in its inaugural season. With that said, however, the 38 team was able to once again beat rookie Casey Kane to the line, and Elliott Sadler claimed his 2nd victory of 2004 and clinched a postseason berth. Despite yet again another crash highlight at Talladega, the season for the 38 team was considered a great success. Sadler earned 2 wins, 8 top 5s, 14 top 10 finishes, 254 laps led, an average finish of 16th, and finished a respectable 9th place in the final standings. Looking back at this season, it was hands down Elliott Sadler's most successful year in the NASCAR Cup Series, and he looked to be one of the most consistent drivers of that 2004 campaign. For the 2005 racing season, the 38 team was as average as peanut M&Ms. While they were overall okay, they were just plain average in terms of execution. Once again, crew chief by Todd Parrott, Elliott Sadler scored only 1 top 5, 12 top 10 finishes, and an average finish of 17th. In addition, the team failed to make the 2005 NASCAR Chase for the Cup, finishing 13th in the final point standings. And as a result, Todd Parrott left the team, and interim crew chief Kevin Buskirk took over for the final 9 races of that season. So entering 2006, things were looking sketchy for Elliott Sadler. As most trilogies are, this third season would either turn Elliott Sadler into a championship superstar or end up turning into a lost cause. Sadly, it was more relatable to the latter half of that previous statement, as the season instead turned into an absolute disaster, as crashes and other misfortunes forced the 38 team to go into a liquidation sale, and Tommy Baldwin was ultimately forced out and left the organization. Following the first 20 events of the season, the team found itself 20th in the season standings with only 5 top 10 finishes recorded on the season. As a result, after 3.5 seasons with the race team, Elliott Sadler was let go from Robert Yates Racing after Watkins Glen, continuing the complete overhaul of the 38 team. A week later, he got the phone call from Ray Evernham as he was tagged to drive the number 19 Dodge for Evernham Motorsports, a car that was mired in heavy controversy with the replacement of Jeremy Mayfield. During his first start in that 19 car, he was able to score a top 10 finish at Michigan, which was the team's best finish of the season. With that said, however, he only netted only 1 more top 10 and earned 4 DNFs during the remaining 13 races. Despite the lackluster performance, just remember this was the build-up year, as next season was going to be the year of strength and performance for Sadler and Evernham, and it would certainly test whether or not he had what it takes. Looking back at this stretch for the 19 team, it is absolutely mind-boggling how companies such as McDonald's, Best Buy, and Stanley Tools wasted money on this dumpster fire worth of a campaign. The number 19 Dodge Charger for the 2007, 2008, and 2009 NASCAR seasons featured some of the sloppiest, most pathetic performances I've ever seen on a racetrack. The only memorable moment during those 3 seasons happened to be another iconic crash, this time on pit road. Elliott Sadler's Dodge took a hit as hard as a hammer to a Best Buy computer, and it ended an abysmal 3-year stretch that saw him earn 3 top 5s, 15 top 10 finishes, and an average points finish of 25th.
Elliott there in the 19 car, he comes down the hill, right in the front of David Gilliland.
Get another look at it, but I didn't see that David Gilliland did anything wrong.
It's my fault for being even that we're anywhere close to Elliott, so if I'm within a half lap of him, that's I expect.
Despite the 19 team merging with Richard Petty Motorsports and switching manufacturers to Ford, the flaming dumpster fire just would not commence. Once again, the only true highlight for Elliott Sadler was, you guessed it, another crash highlight. During the Pocono 400, the U.S. Air Force Ford Fusion nearly broke the paper-thin guardrail, so much so that the entire engine came out of that race car. The final statistics in 2010 featured just one top 10 at Michigan, an average finish of 25th, and 4 DNFs. After those 4 garbage seasons, Elliott Sadler was released from Richard Petty Motorsports and became a free agent. In the least surprising outcome, no other race team freed up space for Sadler, thus ending his full-time NASCAR Cup Series career with a fairly lousy 3 wins and 3 top 20 points finishes in 12 full-time seasons. Despite no doors opening in the Cup Series, a new career door was unlocked for Elliott Sadler in the NASCAR Sportsman Series, as Richard Childress tagged him to drive the number 2 Chevrolet Impala, and sponsor One Main Financial would join him as a full-time sponsor, and the redemption story was underway for Sadler. His first season back in the Sportsman's division could be summed up in one word: consistency. Through the first 32 races of the season, Elliott Sadler behind the wheel had netted 12 top 5s, 23 top 10 finishes, 174 laps led, and had went the entire season without scoring a DNF. That is, until Turn 3 at Phoenix showed its ugly head and a multi-car crash on lap 174 ended that streak, and eventually Elliott Sadler's championship hopes. He would go on to finish the season runner-up in the championship, ultimately scoring 45 points behind champion Ricky Stenhouse Jr. With that said, however, the optimism was fairly high for Sadler, and you could say his competitive spirit was rekindling. The next season in the NASCAR Sportsman Series was nothing short of exceptional once again, as Elliott Sadler was once again the model driver in the series. He was able to break an 8-year winless streak at the Phoenix Raceway by leading 26 laps on the day. He was also able to win races at Bristol, Chicagoland, and Iowa to win a total 4 races on the season. In addition, his season saw him earn 15 top 5s, 24 top 10s, an average finish of 7th, and was tied for the season point standings with 2 races remaining. With that said, however, Elliott Sadler decided to completely choke up the championship with 2 laps to go at Phoenix. Once again, Turn 3 at that racetrack shows its ugly head, and it eventually costs him the championship. Personally, there was no need for this overly aggressive 3-wide move, especially considering that if he would have retained his position, he would have remained in striking distance next weekend. Instead of lifting the trophy in Miami, however, Sadler then loses the championship by 23 points to Ricky Stenhouse Jr. One horrible decision was just enough to look back at the 2012 season as an exact duplication of 2011.
And there is the flip side of the coin. The dejection for the second year in a row and the heartbreak.
In 2013, as part of a trade between Coach Joe and Richard Childress, Elliott Sadler and One Main moved to the greener pastures of Joe Gibbs Racing and Toyota. During his 2 seasons with the team, you could say he was just decent, even though he greatly underachieved considering he was in the same equipment as Kyle Busch. At least he was an improvement from Brian Scott. During his tenure, Elliott Sadler netted 1 win at Talladega in 2014, 16 top 5s, 45 top 10 finishes, an average finish of around 10th, and 2 top 5 finishes in the final season point standings. Meanwhile, during his tenure at JGR, they added a 4th car for the Kansas races. He drove the number 81 Alert Gum Toyota. And guess what? Out of all the things, once again, another crash highlight for the career of Elliott Sadler. For the 2015 season, Elliott Sadler and his one main money was a much-needed survival loan for Roush Fenway Racing, and he drove the #1 Ford Mustang during that season. And by far, this was the most mediocre of Sadler's sportsman career, as he earned only 4 top 5s, 17 top 10 finishes, an average finish of 12th, and a final points finish of 6th. Meanwhile, teammate Chris Buescher was able to claim his first NASCAR Sportsman Series title in the final year of the traditional format and helped ease the liquidation sale for Camaro Racing. While he wasn't horrible during that season, I think Elliott Sadler and Phil Gold missed out on a chance for some true success partnered together. On one other note, how on earth does the number 60 car go from the championship car to an absolute meme in 2018, wrecking a total 23 times? Are you kidding me? What a joke with Roush Fenway Racing nowadays. After an average 2015 campaign, Sadler was released by the Cat in the Hat in a liquidation sale of the One Team. With that said, however, the most popular driver in the sport, Dale Earnhardt Jr., was eyeing expansion. It was later announced that Elliott Sadler would drive the #1 One Main Financial Chevrolet Camaro for Junior Motorsports. Paired with crew chief Kevin Menderine, the team actually exceeded expectations, starting with a controversial win at the Talladega 300. With that win, Elliott Sadler officially qualified for the inaugural NASCAR Xfinity Series playoffs and was leading the point standings ahead of talent such as Eric Jones and Daniel Suarez. In addition, Elliott Sadler was able to defeat infamous Cup leeches Denny Hamlin and Kyle Larson to win the throwback race at Darlington, marking the second win on the season. During the regular season, Sadler was able to claim those 2 wins as well as claim the points lead throughout the regular season. During the first ever Xfinity Series playoff race, however, Elliott Sadler kicked it off with a bang, leading 44 laps and executing the final restart perfectly. Sadler claimed his 3rd win on the season and advanced to the round of 8. During that stage in the game, Sadler was able to notch 3 consistent outings to advance to the championship 4. Certainly, the One Main team was heading into Homestead with one great chance for Sadler to claim his first career title, and there was nowhere to look but up. This time, Elliott Sadler will seize the moment. That is, until Daniel Suarez executes the restart of his life, and once again, Elliott Sadler is the first loser. Despite netting 3 wins, 14 top 5s, 29 top 10 finishes, and completing 99.9% of the laps raced, there would be no title for the Virginia native. Don't worry, Elliott Sadler was able to win something at the NASCAR Awards banquet in the form of the Most Popular Driver Award. The Dale Jr. vote certainly kicked in during this case, and it was a consolation prize for choking up the championship yet again. For the 2017 campaign, Elliott Sadler, Kevin Menderine, and One Main Financial all returned for the season. Despite not winning a race all season long, he managed to net 12 top 5s, 25 top 10 finishes, and advance to the championship for the second straight season. With that said, however, Elliott Sadler could not get past Ryan Preece, and it allowed William Byron to take advantage of the moment and win his first NASCAR Xfinity Series championship, once again finishing first loser in the final point standings. As Byron was celebrating his championship and lifting the hardware, Elliott Sadler decided to pick a fight with Ryan Preece and went on to say this in his interview.
He cost us a championship, and he's not even racing anybody. Was holding us down, and the 9 would have never got to us for that. So you're going to race people like that in this sport, you're not going to make it very far. You got to have respect.
Seriously, you're blaming Ryan Preece for once again choking up the championship? Look, if this were a lapped car, I would get the frustrations behind this move. With that said, however, Ryan Preece and the 18 team were one of the 4 race teams competing for the Owners' Championship. You never know when a late race caution can change the outcome of the race, and every position matters on the racetrack. This was easily one of the most unprofessional, most unsportsmanlike moments in NASCAR history, and this certainly lost all of my respect for Sadler as a driver. So now we reflect on the farewell tour for Elliott Sadler's near 23-year career. Starting out the season in Daytona, if you guessed that he would finish runner-up, well then you were right. In one of the closest finishes in NASCAR history, Elliott Sadler was edged out by teammate Tyler Reddick and lost the season opener at the World Center of Racing. Throughout the regular season, Elliott Sadler was once again consistent, scoring 0 wins but 14 top 5s, 24 top 10 finishes, and was once again a favorite to win the Xfinity Series title. It was time for Elliott Sadler and the entire One Team to rally together and go out on top. That is, until Turn 3 at Phoenix, this time disguised as Turn 1 once again ends Elliott Sadler's season. As a result, the handling of the race car was atrocious for the rest of the day, and Sadler finishes a mediocre 11th place and fails to advance to Miami. Ultimately, Elliott Sadler ended his NASCAR career on November 17, 2018 with a mediocre 14th place finish at Homestead, Miami. He ended his NASCAR career with 0 championships, 17 career wins, and 4 runner-up finishes in the standings. Meanwhile, Junior Motorsports teammate Tyler Reddick literally fell out of the sky last season and was able to sandbag his way through the regular season, consistently work his way into the championship 4, and win his first NASCAR championship last weekend in Homestead, something Elliott Sadler failed to do for 23 years. Congratulations on a wonderful, misfortunate career, Elliott Sadler. So the bottom line, Elliott Sadler will be best remembered for his constant underachieving, crash highlights, and his unsportsmanlike moment at Homestead, Miami. Before 2017, I was an avid fan of Elliott Sadler, and in fact, I wanted him to win an Xfinity title and complete a comeback into the Cup Series. With that said, however, I just can't forgive him for being a sore loser after William Byron beat him fair and square, as well as Ryan Preece racing him fairly. He is easily the Denny Hamlin of the NASCAR Xfinity Series, except at least Denny Hamlin has achieved some Cup Series success and has won some crown jewel events such as the Daytona 500 and the Southern 500. In the long run, Sadler was just the mediocre, washed-up veteran in the series and is truly the definition of a misfortunate career. So anyways, this is NASCAR Racing Fan 2015 signing out, and just remember, life's a beach, and then you drive.
Oh, and Elliott Sadler's bad day continues. For the 3rd time, he has spun and brings out the caution for the 3rd time today.
Third consecutive caution has been by this 19 car.